The message was never meant to reach you this way, but now that it has, everything about your connection is about to be seen from a completely different angle. You are moving, but with someone who loves you. That sentence isn't just a prediction, it feels like a reflection of something already unfolding in silence. Because somewhere in your story, without loud declarations or obvious signs, a person connected to you has already begun preparing for a life where you are not missing, but deeply present. And the strange part? They haven't even fully admitted it to themselves yet. Every time they imagine the future, your presence slips into it naturally, as if the mind refuses to build a timeline without you in it. But what they don't realize is this: those thoughts are not random. They are signals. And today, those signals are becoming impossible to ignore. Stay till the end, because what is being revealed about this move is far more emotional than it first appears, and it connects directly to someone who has been silently carrying feelings they never expressed out loud. At first, they tried to treat it like coincidence. A passing thought. A memory that comes and goes. But soon, it became something else entirely. Every decision they make about the future carries an invisible weight, your energy. It appears in the smallest details. The kind of places they imagine living, the conversations they rehearse in their mind, even the peace they associate with home. And slowly, without warning, they begin to realize something unsettling yet beautiful: they are no longer imagining a future alone. There is always another presence in it. A presence that doesn't feel new, but strangely familiar. The most surprising part is that they don't resist it anymore. Instead, they pause longer on those thoughts, as if trying to understand why it feels so right. And that's where everything starts shifting, because when a heart stops resisting truth, destiny starts revealing intention. Don't skip, because what they are about to understand next changes the entire meaning of moving, and reveals why your connection keeps returning no matter how far life tries to take it. Now comes the part that reshapes everything they believed about relationships, timing, and emotional distance. They begin to notice that this connection doesn't behave like ordinary memories. It doesn't fade with distraction. It doesn't weaken with time. Instead, it becomes clearer whenever life slows down. In quiet moments, your presence feels closer. In uncertain moments, your energy feels like direction. And in emotional moments, it feels like understanding without explanation. That is when they realize something powerful: they are not just thinking about you. They are emotionally aligning with a version of life where you already belong. And this realization creates a shift inside them that cannot be reversed easily. They stop asking, "Why do I feel this?" and start asking, "What is this trying to become?" And the answer is something they are not fully ready to hear yet. Because what they think is simple longing is actually the beginning of emotional readiness for a shared path. Something huge is waiting for you, because what unfolds next reveals why this connection was never about distance. It was about preparation for a future that has already started forming silently around both of you. The shift becomes undeniable when they stop treating these thoughts as accidents and start recognizing them as patterns. Because now, every plan they make about moving forward quietly includes a version of you in it. Not forced. not imagined out of desperation, but naturally, like something that refuses to be removed from the equation of their future. And that's what unsettles them the most, how easily your presence fits into their long-term vision without any effort. Even when they try to think differently, the mind gently returns to the same point, as if some decisions have already been made on a deeper level than logic. This is where confusion turns into curiosity, and curiosity slowly turns into emotional honesty. They begin to realize they are no longer avoiding the thought of you, they are returning to it. Again and again. And every return feels more intentional than the last. Stay till the end, because what they discover next about this emotional pull explains why it feels less like memory and more like destiny unfolding in real time. Then something even more unexpected begins to happen. They start noticing how their emotional responses change depending on thoughts of you. Peace appears when your presence enters their mind. Silence feels softer when your memory is there. Even stressful moments lose a certain weight when they unconsciously imagine a future where you exist beside them. This is not imagination anymore, it feels like emotional correction. As if their inner world is slowly adjusting itself towards something it already recognizes. And the most surprising part? They stop questioning whether this connection is real. Instead, they begin questioning how they ever ignored it for so long. Every past misunderstanding, every distance, every pause now looks different, not as endings, but as preparation. And this realization quietly shakes their certainty about what they thought they wanted in life. Because what they once saw as just thoughts is now revealing itself as emotional alignment. Don't skip, because the next realization shows why this alignment is not random, it is pointing toward a future that is already trying to form itself around both of you. And now, everything reaches a point where denial becomes impossible. They start understanding that some people don't enter your life just to stay in your present, they enter to shape your direction. And in their case, your presence has become that direction. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But consistently. In the background of every important thought. Even when they try to imagine a life without you, something feels incomplete, like a missing piece they can't fully replace. That feeling is no longer ignored. It is studied, felt, accepted in silence. And this acceptance creates something powerful inside them, a quiet readiness for something they don't yet have words for. Because deep down, they now sense that this connection is not fading, it is preparing. Preparing for a version of life where distance no longer defines the story. And as this realization settles, one final emotional truth begins to emerge, one that changes how they see you, themselves, and everything that is still waiting ahead. Something huge is waiting for you, because what comes next reveals why this moving was never just about location, it was about moving towards something that was already waiting to become real. At this point, everything they believed about distance starts collapsing in a very quiet but powerful way. Because they finally understand something they never noticed before. Distance was never stopping the connection, it was only testing how deeply it exists beneath silence. And now, after all this time, the connection is still here. Stronger in awareness. clearer in feeling, and impossible to ignore in thought. They begin to realize that moving forward in life doesn't mean moving away from you. It somehow keeps circling back to a version of life where you are already part of the picture. That realization doesn't come as a shock anymore. It comes as acceptance. A slow, emotional acceptance that changes how they see everything they once misunderstood. And in that acceptance, something very soft but powerful begins to grow inside them. A feeling that this was never about forgetting, but about understanding what was always meant to stay. Stay till the end, because the final truth about this connection reveals why every step they took forward somehow kept leading them closer to you instead of away. And then comes the moment where emotional resistance completely fades. They stop trying to define the connection and start feeling it without labels. Because every label they once used, past, distance, uncertainty, no longer fits what they feel now. What remains is something simpler, but far deeper. A sense of belonging that was never fully expressed but always silently present. They begin to understand that not every connection announces itself loudly. Some connections reveal their truth slowly, through repeated thoughts, repeated feelings, and repeated returns to the same emotional space. And that space always contains you. The more they accept this, the more their inner world becomes calm instead of confused. It is not excitement anymore. It is recognition. A feeling that something important was never lost, just delayed in understanding. And this shift changes everything about how they now look at the idea of future. Don't skip, because what they are about to realize next explains why this emotional calm is actually the beginning of a much bigger transformation in their life path. Now everything moves into a deeper realization that feels almost irreversible. They understand that when someone becomes part of your emotional direction, life doesn't simply erase them, it integrates them into your growth. And that is exactly what has happened here. Your presence has become a silent influence in how they think, how they feel, and how they imagine what comes next. Not in a controlling way, but in a meaningful way that reshapes their emotional expectations. They no longer see the future as something separate from you. They see it as something still forming around both of you in ways they cannot fully see yet. And that creates a powerful inner shift, a readiness they didn't plan for, but can no longer avoid. Because now, even silence feels like connection. Even distance feels like continuation. And even uncertainty feels like preparation. Something huge is waiting for you, because what they are finally stepping into is not confusion anymore. It is the beginning of emotional clarity that was always meant to arrive when both hearts were ready to understand what moving forward truly means.